the streams, I find my peace. I'm not lost, I'm exploring, feeling alive with the wind in my hair and the sun in my eyes. I'm not lost, I'm exploring.
Hey everybody, welcome back to I'm Not Lost, I'm Exploring. It's Robbie, and today we are up in Summit Hill, and we were trying to get back to the Switchback Trail, as it leads from Summit Hill down to what was used to be Mauch Chunk. You guys know it as Jim Thorpe, and I'm on the trail by the cemetery that I think is the way we used to get down. I know there's another much easier path to get down. You can actually drive right to the trailhead, but I want to try this out. It's been a long time since I've been back here, so come along with me and we'll see what we see. So again, we're back here on what will eventually become the Switchback Trail, and heading toward Jim Thorpe. I'm gonna do this in two parts. Today we're gonna conquer Summit Hill to Mauch Chunk Lake and a little bit beyond Mauch Chunk Lake, and then in a few days I'm gonna be joined by a few friends, and we'll probably do that as part two, and we're gonna go from Mauch Chunk Lake down to Mount Pisgah, and with a few surprise stops along the way. But for now, let's get down to that lake.
I put on my hiking boots, pack up my backpack. The call of nature's beauty, there's no turning back. Through the mountains and valleys, I feel so free. Exploring the world where I'm meant to be. Among the trees and the streams, I find my peace. I'm not lost, I'm exploring, feeling alive with the wind in my hair and the sun in my eyes. I'm not lost, I'm exploring in nature's embrace, connected to the earth in this magical place. The power of nature, both fierce and kind, destroying and rebuilding in a constant bind. As I walk through the fire in the
Let's try it again. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but there's little flecks of coal all through here. See if we can pick up a couple pieces of it. You guys can see. Pretty cool. What if I told you that America's first roller coaster wasn't actually an amusement park, but hidden away in the woods here in Pennsylvania? And today we are exploring the remains of a gravity railroad that helped fuel the American Industrial Revolution and later became a thrill ride. So I'm gonna turn you guys around and you can check this out, what we can see so far. Hoping to see some ruins, maybe find some artifacts, but most of all just enjoy this nice hike and check out the Switchback Trail here in Summit Hill, actually on our way down to Mauch Chunk Lake. So far in this section I'm not seeing much in the way of ruins. Some little pieces of coal along the trail and not much else at this point. I do know on the Jim Thorpe side, which we'll explore in the next part of this series, there's much more to see. Some remains from an engine house and some other things. But we're going to continue walking along this trail here, and if I see anything else that's really interesting or I find interesting, or maybe I'll add some little bits of information as we go along the trail here, I'll bring you guys back on. So far this trail has been very beautiful. Every now and then you'll catch a glimpse of the lake, which I'm sure in the fall or maybe the winter you get a pretty good view of the lake, but you can see the lake clearly through the trees every so often here and there. But the view is beautiful. There's a little bit of road noise because it does run parallel to a highway. But it is, other than that, it's been peaceful. I did speak to a homeowner up here and found out that part of the trail that I was on was posted. So you go on Stony Lonesome Road and follow that road all the way down, and it'll bring you to a trailhead that you can use. And to the owner of that property, I apologize. I got halfway down the trail and then I started seeing the signs, and I was almost close to the Stony Lonesome Road, so I just continued. So there's that. But you guys can see this trail is beautiful. It is a beauty. I wish I could go off the trail a little bit, because up there I'm seeing like rock formations and stuff that I would like to see, but there are signs where this area is posted back there, although I haven't seen any purple paint yet. So maybe if I don't see that for a while, maybe we'll venture back and see what some of those rock formations are. Pretty cool. I expected to see more ruins and tracks. I know I was down here a few years ago, and the only thing I could find was these little steel, I almost want to say they look like buckles. So I've been keeping an eye out for that, just in case I see one. If I do see one, I'll show you guys what I mean. Or if I find out what it was, I'll show you guys what it was. But beautiful trail. Very peaceful, other than me talking to myself. So thank you guys for coming along on this journey with me. And we'll continue down the road and see what we see. So there are some benches for you to sit on, stop, take a break, have a rest. And we're going to continue on, but I'm sure coming back up that hill, we may use those for the return trip. So for those of you who don't know, this is the former switchback. It was used to take coal from the mines in Summit Hill down to the Lehigh Canal via gravity railroad, which ran from Summit Hill and the mines in Summit Hill down to Jim Thorpe, Mauch Chunk at that time, down the incline plane, another piece of coal, and on down the Lehigh River to Philadelphia, etc., to basically fuel the Industrial Revolution. I'll go into a little more detail of that and probably a voiceover. I want to get my dates right, but I believe the railroad portion shut down pretty much when the actual railroad started running. So that shut down that portion of the canal basically, and flooding pretty much put the last nail in the coffin. But the switchback continued to operate into the 1930s, but not as a way to transport coal, as a pretty much amusement park ride. So again, I'll go into a little more detail on that, and I'm sure I'll find more pictures, but I have quite a bit already to share with you guys that I think you're really going to enjoy, so stick around. I really expected to see more ruins back here, but I'm not seeing much. But there are big divots where you can clearly see that land was removed. So I don't know if that land was used, the dirt was used to create, the trail to flatten this out, or what, or if they were building here at one point, but I don't see any foundations for or any buildings. But there are quite a few of those divots, as you can see, as we move down the trail toward Mauch Chunk Lake. It's kind of funny to think, like today I'm on this nice, peaceful, quiet trail, but back then, there were coal carts ripping through here at, I believe, around 50 miles an hour. Can you imagine the noise that must have made? I mean, what would it be like if we were walking along this trail and had a coal cart rush by us 50 miles an hour, or for that matter, a group of tourists who came down here or up here from the city to ride the car to go down into Jim Thorpe? I remember seeing stories or reading stories about people who would ride the carts from Summit Hill down to Jim Thorpe just to get like groceries. Not sure if they made the return trip, probably, I'd imagine. But I'd imagine it was much quicker than taking your horse and trying to get up and down the hill. Just can't get over how peaceful it is back here. Again, other than me with my mouth. It's very pretty, although I know the camera likes to pick up things that are in the distance. So I'm sure you guys are hearing the road traffic much more than I am. I kind of realized that at Tuscarora, during my time at Tuscarora State Park. I was editing my film and I could hear that train in the background. Clunk, 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 and then obviously the whistle, which actually helped me identify what I was hearing. But yeah, but it's a pretty cool trail. Very peaceful again. Very historic. It's a very historic area. Sorry about that. So like I said, I know in recent years there's been a push to rename or to put the name back to Mauch Chunk. But I don't know that that'll ever come to fruition. I think it would be a great disservice to Jim Thorpe and his family, especially knowing all the trials and stuff that I've gone through, the trials and tribulations of the family. It's kind of a controversial subject sometimes. Some family in a tribe wanted him to be returned to his land, and he should be buried with his ancestral roots. And of course the town fighting to keep him here. And I know some of his family was just down in Jim Thorpe a few days ago, visiting the area and touring the area. So they do come and memorialize him on his birthday and anniversaries. So while the Switchback Railroad was originally designed to haul coal from the mines of Summit Hill to the Lehigh Canal in Mauch Chunk, it didn't take long for someone to realize this wasn't just a railway, it was a thrill ride. By the mid-1800s, word spread of the wild descent down the mountainside, cars racing purely by gravity, twisting and turning through the forest, dropping nearly 1,000 feet in elevation. And it wasn't long before people were lining up not to mine coal, but to feel the rush themselves. Tourists from Philadelphia, New York, and beyond would ride the train cars up the incline planes powered by massive stationary steam engines, then take the ride of their lives, hurtling back down the 9-mile track, reaching speeds up to 50 miles an hour. No brakes, no engines, just gravity, rails, and probably nerves of steel. Some called it the White Knuckle Railroad, others the Scenic Switchback, but most agreed it was the first roller coaster experience in the United States. Decades before Coney Island and steel track loops, this wooden rail through the Pennsylvania mountains was giving Americans a taste of adrenaline. By the late 1800s, the coal businesses began to decline, but the thrill seekers kept coming. The Lehigh Canal Navigation Company leaned into the tourism. They sold tickets, promoted the ride, and made it a full-day attraction. Rides would descend the switchback, taking views of the Lehigh Gorge, and then be pulled back up by cable for another round. Sadly, by 1932, the ride was officially shut down. The rails were pulled up. The thrill came to an end. But the echoes of excitement still linger here on this trail. Today we walk it slowly, taking in the views, taking in the trees, and just enjoying our time out here in this peaceful place. But it's incredible to me to think that cars would come down this at 50 miles an hour. It's just incredible. I bet if we still listen today, we could probably hear the echoes of those who rode America's first roller coaster. Check this place out, guys. This is beautiful. Beautiful place to ride your bike. Beautiful place to hike and just to get outside. Beautiful place to clear your head. beautiful place to shoot a video, but it's just, I just can't explain how blessed I am just to be out here and to be able to enjoy this and to bring you guys along with me. Thank you guys again for coming along on this cool little journey here. We still got a lot to see, I think. So I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up or not, but there's actually a trail that kind of parallels this right here, and I can't help but wonder if that is the original track, or if it's part of the return track for the switchback. There's quite a bit of mud back here. Let's see if we see any tracks in the mud. None that can really be made out, I guess. There's a bunch of trails that shoot off up into the mountain here as we continue down toward the lake. I think the goal today, let me turn you guys around. I think the goal today is going to be to walk this section of the switchback trail down through Mauch Chunk Lake, well, starting in Summit Hill, obviously, down through Mauch Chunk Lake, across to the other side of the dam, and then down by the Sportsman's Club that's down there, and then maybe we'll cross over the highway. We'll see. But I'm definitely going to get you guys back up here to see the other side of the switchback in the very near future, and it looks like we might have just come on to our first little bit of ruins, some signs and etc. So I'll share that with you guys, but we're going to cross over and then we'll hike the trail down to into Jim Thorpe. So I'll bring you guys along with me, and make sure you guys check out what will be part 2 of this video, because I will have some guests with me and you guys aren't going to want to miss it. All right, so here's that other section of the trail I was talking about that comes down, and then there's another one even below this, but that's all posted. But you can see there's what looks like it used to be a piece of track sticking out of the ground right there, and what looks to be an old sign up ahead over there. But speaking of that other trail, there is some other, like what might have been a gate or something at one time right here. Shows right here. So I'm not sure what these were, but it goes to that other section there, and as you guys can see, someone has taken the time to write private property on there, so we won't be going down that trail today. But we can continue on the switchback trail, and just over on the other side here, big piece of quartz right in there, just on the other side of that is what looks like it's a sign, an old sign. See if we can read any of it. Probably says private property also, but another trail that goes up here. Looks like this might have been another trail at some point. Cannot read any of it. Maybe Lungbuster hike. Oh yeah, Lungbuster hike. Let's check that out. All right, so I'm pretty sure that sign right there says Lungbuster hike. Lungbuster hike. So I'm gonna have to check that out on all trails and see what that's all about. Maybe that'll give us one more thing to explore up here. But I kind of thought that was private property, but I don't see a posted sign on it. And I know we're going to be coming up on the area where we switch to go down toward the lake, down toward Mauch Chunk Lake in just a few minutes. All right, so I know there's some cool ruins up there, and I will show you those in a few minutes. You guys can see this area is cleared out as well. It's another one of those areas that I've been talking about on the way through, about, you know, they're big open pieces of land, and on this part it's actually dug out and piled to the right over here. There's a chipmunk roaming around that tree right there. Not sure if you guys are going to get to see him because he's pretty sneaky. And we're coming up onto a placard as well to tell us about this area and what it is. It looks like there may have been a bridge or something, or a trellis that possibly crossed over right here. Another bench. There you see the sign from Mount Jefferson. 2 miles, and the park office for Mauch Chunk Lake is 1 mile. And then here, 5 mile tree coming through. It says 5 mile tree crossover. Leaving Mount Pisgah, the weight of the car was again its motive. Power and the slight decline in the grade carried it at speeds of 18 miles per hour to Mount Jefferson, a distance of 6 miles and 1 furlong. And then here is a diagram. So we started up here, Summit Hill. And now we're down here. So that other trail that we saw is probably this right here, where it swoops down to gain speed to climb up to Mount Pisgah house. So now we are here, and we are going to head down this way. And then next video, we're going to actually head up to Mount Pisgah and the Mount Pisgah plain. So this is cool because it actually gives you an idea of what it looked like before and now what it looks like today. And we're going to walk through that. Maybe we'll go up above and see what we can see. Might be time for a new sign. It should be mounted up there. And that would be this way here. If you stayed on the top rail, that would take you to Mount Pisgah. So other than those, that little bit of ruins back there on this side of the trail and lots of coal. You really wouldn't know this was anything other than a trail at one point. The track has all been removed, obviously. But unlike the D&L where you still see the rails, none of that is here. So I expected to see a lot more, hints. I mean, obviously the ground has been changed quite a bit. It doesn't feel natural, but I don't see many ruins with that regard. And I know we're getting closer to the lake and actually passed by the front of several homes. So yeah, we'll continue walking. This is what we were on. This is a great place to ride a bicycle. If you had a mountain bike, you'd probably cover this part of the trail in a few minutes. I didn't bring my bike, obviously. I wanted to hike through here, kind of take my time and see what I could see, see if anything really jumped out at me. Looking for any kind of trace that there were people, animals other than the trail itself. I've seen some deer tracks, a few chipmunks, lots of birds, a few moths, no bears. Thank you. So let's continue on. All right, so back into the woods we go. Looks like more posted private property, but we were actually we're still on the trail, but it actually passes through the front yards of several homes, some very beautiful homes, I might add. But it passes through the yards of several homes, and I didn't feel comfortable, filming. Not that I didn't feel comfortable filming in front of other people, but I didn't feel comfortable, there are people out in their yards and people doing work in their yards. I just don't like to do that to people. It's their private areas. So anyway, we're back into the woods of the trail. Looks like some of the area to my left is posted, private property. Some trees down. Show you guys what I'm talking about in a few seconds. So see a tree down right in front of me. We're just going to duck under it, move along. So we're actually into Jim Thorpe now. You can actually see the sign that designates it as the borough of Jim Thorpe, and going by Mauch Chunk Lake, which is just to my right. And still continuing on the trail. There ain't a whole lot to see really in the way of ruins. but it is absolutely a beautiful trail. It's a beautiful day to be out here. I know there's a little something for you guys to see coming up, and we'll show you that. And then we're going to cross over the highway, and then we'll be into Mauch Chunk Park, Mauch Chunk Lake. So now you guys can see this is really built up here. So again, ground was removed and used to build this trail up so it can hold its grade as much as possible toward Jim Thorpe. So I forgot about this cool little, looks like a bus shelter of some kind. I'm not sure what it was at one point, but now it's a great place to take a little rest. And then it tells you right here, the Switchback Gravity Railroad, National Historic Landmark, dedicated to the citizens of Carbon County by the Northeast Land Company, November 1976. So a cool little shelter in here. Roof definitely needs some work. The historical sign, I don't know if you guys can read that or not, but it says the Switchback Railroad, a gravity railroad, was built along this mountain in 1827 to carry coal from the mines near Summit Hill to the Lehigh Canal at Mauch Chunk. A backtrack and 2 planes were added in 1844 for the return trip by gravity. A railroad crossed highway here. So we came in here and we're going to head across there and go through the rest of the trail there. We're going to continue on the trail through here. It's the Switchback Gravity Railroad, or the Switchback Trail. I think they have like a little train car up here or something to look at. Alright, so it says horse-drawn wagon road in 1820, the first gravity railroad in 1827. And then over here it says the Switchback Gravity Railroad 1844 down track. And that's the trail we're currently on now. Here's the signage in Mauch Chunk Lake. So this is actually a replica car of a tourist car. That would have been a coal car converted to allow tourists to ride in it. Not a whole lot to it, is it? I believe it says this replica was built in 1991. Alright, so that car was actually a replica of a tourist car. They would intersperse those tourist cars in between the coal carts. And I don't know about you guys, but that must have been one crazy bumpy ride. There's no shocks, there's no brakes, there's no engine, just pure gravity slinging you down a mountain at 50 miles an hour. I guess people back in the 1800s and early 1900s were a whole lot braver than we are today. I don't know if the video is picking it up, but we actually just crossed the highway by that tourist car, and we're now in Mauch Chunk Lake, which is a county park in Carbon County. Beautiful, beautiful lake. If you guys get a chance, come down and check it out. I did hike a few trails down here. I'll put the links to those videos in the description, as always. And if I see any of my favorite content creators were down here, I'll put links to their videos as well, just to share. Give them a like and a subscribe for me, but please. I know they'd greatly appreciate it, as would I. So you guys can probably see the lake peeking through the trees down there. We may have to go down there. It warmed up quite a bit today. Started out it was in the 50s, and now it's probably closer to 70, 75. But a beautiful day nonetheless. So you guys can kind of see there's a rock wall right there. I've always wondered about these rock walls. You'll see them all the way through here. Not so much now because the bushes have grown up quite a bit. The foliage is quite thick. But it's all along here. It runs a pretty good distance on here. See bits and pieces of it back there as we walk through here. And I've always kind of wondered about that. I'll have to see what I can find. I know there's a farm up the road. See, here's a better shot. Back in the foliage there, you can see that rock wall, but it does run all the way down here. So I'll have to to do some digging and see what I could find with regards to that. I do know there's some farm ruins down here. I'm not sure if we'll stop at them today, but I will definitely get video of that for you guys. And a link to Twisted Adventures did a little video down there as well. Pretty cool looking video. Actually was what brought my attention to it. So Ryan, thank you guys for that. I'll put a link to their video and their page down below in the description, and you guys can check them out for yourself. So we just passed by Mauch Chunk Lake, and the trail is once again changing. It's crushed stone, 2B, 3B, whatever. But beautiful, beautiful views of the lake. Now there's like a little stream running to my left, if you guys can see that right there or not. But beautiful stream running through here. I know there's a beautiful creek up ahead that is well known for fishing. It runs by a sportsman's club. But we're almost into Jim Thorpe, and gonna continue on hiking. And guys, if I motivate you to do anything, I hope I motivate you to get outside, enjoy nature. And if you can't get out and enjoy nature yourself, please come along with me. So does anybody else see those culverts and feel like they have to crawl through them too? Because for some reason I feel like I need to go back there and crawl through that. But see all the tadpoles swimming around? See if I can get a little closer without sinking in this mud. Hope that's coming out on camera. There's a ton of them in there. I have to admit, there are more trails down here than I realized. So we just walked by Board Bottom Trail. We'll have to come down and check that out in another video. Wonder if there's one of those trails that run by the old farm. Yeah, a trail has gotten a little muddy. Just after I opened my mouth about going a little farther. The trail's gotten a little muddier, but I kind of expect that because we're going to be crossing a trail up, or yeah, a trail. We're going to cross a trail up ahead. We are going to cross the trail up ahead. We're going to cross the road up ahead. We're going to cross a stream up ahead a little bit. But yeah, really enjoying this hike. If you guys have a mountain bike, you could probably rip through here in maybe 5 minutes. It'd be a great little trail to ride. And again, it's peaceful, it's beautiful. Getting closer to the town of Jim Thorpe and starting to run into quite a few more people. Ran into several fishermen, but it's no surprise the stream next to me, as you guys have seen so far, is absolutely beautiful. And Flagstaff Road. So we have to cross here. So you guys know how much I like to walk on the road in between trails, but kind of want to get this one done, and I want to do it in two parts. So we're going to continue on hiking the switchback here as soon as I can find out where it switches back over. New public works building down here in Jim Thorpe. We're headed Delaware and Lehigh National Heritage Corridor. I don't know why that's so hard for me to say. Well, it looks like there's a little placard up here and some ruins we can check out. You guys can see there's some platforms back there in the woods, and it looks like a set of steps up here. And I think the trail goes back that way if I'm correct. Wind in the face. A gentleman made the descent on a common workman's truck in 13 minutes at speeds of 41.5 miles per hour. He said they seemed to fly down the mountain and protested that nothing would persuade him to venture on another such madcap ride. That is cool. These old concrete steps once led to a wooden platform where passengers either left or boarded the passenger coaches. Their presence reminds us of this crossing and transfer site. So this was a transfer site, and it also says that it was in this area the last 2 miles that the speeds of the carts were up to 45 to 50 miles an hour. So that little section we just watched, I walked through, you guys watched, would have been that section where the carts were hitting their top speed. This is such a beautiful area. It's incredible. It's right along the road, which kind of is a bummer, but I love that there's some old foundations here from the actual trains at boarding area. That's very cool. Okay, let's continue on. Okay, so we're continuing on the switchback trail. Guess we're gonna go by whatever these buildings are, but we are back on the switchback trail. And there's kind of a steep bank right there, and it looks like it's somewhat washed out. There is a wall there. You can't see that wall on the trail. There is a wall there. So they built this up quite a bit to maintain the grade down to Jim Thorpe. This is a pleasure to walk. It really is. Beautiful trail. There's not many people that use this apparently, but this is the first time I've ever been on this section of the trail. I've hiked the upper portion quite a bit, but this is the first time I've ever been on this section of the trail. I'm kind of sorry I passed on it a few times, but we're getting to see it today, so I guess that's all that matters. I always say that's one of the things that I like to see, like when a tree falls over, what is embedded in its root system. I know there's people out west, and I'm sure in this area as well, that have found like coins or jars with coins and trinkets and stuff in them. So I always stop to look just because you never know, right? Incredible. That's a little better, huh? Pretty cool. Can't really stand up in here. I get down that there. Be able to. Oh, there we go. That's better. My camera's out there. Let's see what's on the other side. Very cool. Looks looks like another one down there. The wall goes all the way up along there. And then up through here. Man, I should have brought my camera through. I gotta go back through to get the GoPro. So, just a short little tunnel. Still pretty cool. Little find here. So there's a trail that goes through here. I was just down there. Well, this side of that tunnel, and there's another one. I don't know if you can see it through the rocks down there. Right down in there, there's another one. I'm not sure where this goes. Pretty cool. You can see some old bottles and that sitting out in that tree. So I just climbed through that a culvert between these two big pits, and then there's another one on the opposite side of where I'm standing now, but that one is a little more collapsed than the one I was just in. But I would like to get in there, check it out. Actually getting into an area now where I'm finding some things, some ruins. I'm not sure what this would be for. That might even be from an old truck. This looks like there's a bumper or something right here too. It's pretty cool. I'm glad I found that because it caught my attention onto a bunch of other things down here. And you guys are gonna have to wait for another video for that. So that's the opposite side of the tunnel that I was in. Now that I'm back up on the bank, and you can see that wall goes for a little distance. And then that other one, it must drop down quite a bit, because you can see the exit or entrance to it way down there. So we may have to come back and check that one out. But I believe I'm in the area of an old dump. Anyway, like I said, I believe I'm in the area of an old dump. I have made it down to Jim Thorpe. I kind of know where I am. I think I've been in this section before. There's a little bit more to explore here. Definitely going to do that on another video when I have someone with me. But if you guys want to see that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I think you guys will be interested in that, especially if you're in the train history, or if you just want to see a chubby guy climbing through caves and openings that he doesn't belong in. You know, all that fun stuff. There's a pot stuck to a tree right there. It's kind of got my attention. But anyway, like I was saying, hit that subscribe button, guys. Come along with me on these adventures. See what we can find. Dive into history. Take a hike. Get out. Hello? What are you doing? Alright, so I think I'm getting back into a town. Back into Jim Thorpe now. I'm starting to pass by more and more houses on the trail, so I must be getting close to town. But I do know that that part of the trail goes down into behind some houses on the main street of Jim Thorpe, and I think this one goes out to the top road and then heads up to the upper section, which I'll do next time. But it's been beautiful so far. Amazing trail, and this section is paved, so even better. But yep, definitely much more houses. So see you guys in a little bit. I think we're gonna cross right over here and continue walking down that trail right there. All right, so we just crossed into the road back there, and now we're still on the trail. I believe this is still considered a switchback trail, heading toward the area of the cemetery, the Jim Thorpe Cemetery. So down over the hill here is the Opera House and some other cool little things that you guys will see in some later videos. This trail has been amazing. Lots of little wildlife, lots of birds. No snakes, surprisingly. I probably just jinxed myself. No deer. We have seen squirrels, chipmunks, plenty of birds, and a few people. More people now than I thought I would see. You know, as we got in closer to town, I actually expect to see more people, but I've seen quite a few people actually walking along the trail now. And I'm not too sure that most people even know this trail is here, or this part of the trail is here. But it runs very close to the back of houses, so you are seeing some trash, but you also get to see some cool things like these bricks here. You know, they're all along here. I don't know if they had this, if this was brick lined at one point. If you guys can see, if the camera's picking it up, you can see the rows of stone underneath and how high above the town we are still. So I believe we're coming to, or very near the end of this part of the trail, of the switchback trail. It's a really cool trail, guys. I highly recommend coming out and checking it out. Even if you bring a bike, bring a mountain bike down here, you could probably cover this whole area in a matter of an hour, maybe a little less even. But there's some cool little things along the way that you can stop and check out. Not a whole lot in the way of ruins. I thought there would be a lot more ruins, but unfortunately there isn't. But there are some little like placards and stuff to tell you what, you know, what was down here, what was along the way. Sorry guys, that's what caught my attention right there. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, or what that is. Maybe they'll have a placard to tell us. Whole other half of the trail to cover in a video, but I will have some special guests with me for that section of the trail. See that building down there? That's pretty cool. And so thank you guys for coming out on this adventure with me. Probably going to be a pretty long video. I hope you guys appreciate it and enjoy it. And hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, check out some of my other videos, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks again. Boy, I gotta tell you, that is a fun hike, but my knees are killing me now. This is a pretty steep hill. I don't know if you guys are gonna get any idea of the grade of this hill, but it is a pretty steep hill. And my knees are not liking it. Not even a little bit. But the cool thing is I should be able to take you guys right by the Harry Packer and the Asa Packer Mansion, as well as Kemmerer Park, which is on my left. And there's actually someone down there walking through right now. We'll have to check this out. This is the carriage house from the Harry Packer Mansion, and then the Harry Packer Mansion right here. Cool story about the Harry Packer Mansion is this is actually one of the things that Disney used as inspiration for the Haunted Mansion at Disney. And then just next to it, just up the road a little bit, is the Asa Packer Mansion. And there you guys can see the Asa Packer Mansion. And we are just about into downtown Jim Thorpe. So if you guys would like to see the inside of the Asa Packer Mansion, or would like to tour the Asa Packer Mansion, you can do that by coming down here to Jim Thorpe and actually touring it yourself. The Harry Packer Mansion is open for murder mystery weekends, so you can actually see the inside of both of these homes. Or I can bring you guys along on a visit to the Asa Packer Mansion, and I can see what I can do about the Harry Packer Mansion. So that's going to do it for today.
So as always, guys, thank you so much for coming along on this adventure with me, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thank you and have a great day.